Duvenage is the CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, and he joins us for more. Wayne, a very good evening to you. We've just heard that those who embody the spirit of defiance, whistleblowers, but of course creating an environment where they can tell the truth and be safe and be protected and encouraged is one that has shown to be lacking given the history and the records of what has happened to whistleblowers.
Yeah, absolutely. In this age, we don't believe that people want to blow the whistle because of the fear of intimidation, the fear of losing their jobs and lives and livelihoods. We see it all the time. So when we engage with whistleblowers, we on our site, website, when they give us information, we actually try and encourage them to be very clear about how to protect themselves, how not to get caught when they collecting information and so forth. Is very important. So, we need information. I mean, whistleblowers are so important and integral to the fight against corruption. And those who are brave enough to tackle it generally suffer. And it's really sad to see. So we are dealing with whistleblowers who've lost their jobs for lives, they've lost their homes, they've lost their families. It's just absolute pain. And there is so much more than just whistleblower protection laws, but it's actually creating this network of pro bono lawyers who fight in their corner to keep their jobs, psychosocial support, and just having emergency relief funds to enable them to just live sometimes. A very, very important topic, this.
Absolutely. I mean, as you speak about, some of the discussions at the summit, I mean, you're among those who've gathered there to amplify your voice in the fight against corruption. What does your participation mean as these conversations expand and the solutions come to the fore?
Well, it is about, if we're going to be meaningful in the fight against corruption, we need to have political will to capacitate the criminal justice system and start to digitize it, because we just see too much information lost. We need to see a whole range of ethics that is driven, a culture of ethics in both business is the other side of the corruption coin. It's not just in the state. There's two players in this game. And how do we deal with these different roles? The payee, the person with the checkbook, normally government, and the companies that are participating. How do we ensure that we strike out, for instance, things like middlemen fees and facilitation fees, which is what corruption is all about, and really start tackling it meaningfully, which is not the case right now, and the political will needs to be amplified, because until we get that, until we get the resources put into where it is needed to fight corruption, we're never going to get on top of the scourge.
I mean, is there a sense that there is political will to tackle crime or corruption and protect whistleblowers, for one? I mean, you make a very important point about support. Support would mean financial and psychological support when it comes to what happens after someone has told the truth. The whistleblower has really blown the whistle. Is there political will? Never mind the fact that we've got a suspended police minister who's at odds with a provincial commissioner. There's instability at the highest level of the SAPS. I mean, what hope does that leave as you try and bring solutions and try and make changes that will have an impact?
Yeah, I know exactly. So you see how far it has gone. And when people lose trust in the same entities that are supposed to protect them, such as the police, we have a serious problem. So there's a lot of work to be done to clear out the police and the criminal justice system that's supposed to be working for them, to capacitate the NPA, the Investigating Directorate, and others is so critical and so important in this space. And we keep going back to this political will. We've always said, you can't just throw money and people at the problem, but a concerted plan and an effort to roll out the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, which has just been handed over to the President last week, to ensure that we can deal with this meaningfully. 10 billion rand invested in that space probably returns 100 billion rand to the country's coffers if it's done properly. So There's a good return on investment in fighting corruption meaningfully, and starts with making whistleblowers feel safe to do so. Also in the corporate world, because there's a lot of people inside the corporate systems that can blow the whistle on corruption taking place in that space. So a lot of work to be done, but plans are just ideas until they're implemented, until they're actually put into action. They are meaningless. We need, and this is our nemesis in this country, implementation. We seem to struggle.
Absolutely. It's more so because crime clearly needs to be tackled from multiple angles, right? To build a more transparent and accountable system. As you're part of these discussions, what are you personally hoping to achieve as you walk away?
Well, firstly, well done to the University of Johannesburg for having these discussions and a summit and a conference for 3 days and getting industry experts and people together. From that, we can start developing solutions. I think it should be based a lot on what has been proposed at the National Anti-Corruption Strategy from the Council that has made their submissions, and then putting together solutions, workable solutions with business, with civil society, with government. But the biggest thing is to just start forcing the ability to implement and to help government. Government needs help, but government also needs to show that it wants help, to open the doors. I mean, the amount of times we knock on the doors of cabinet ministers and government to say, we have got so much information for you. If you just act on this, you can stop billions of rands or millions of rands being lost. And the door stays closed. There's this lack of will to open the door and invite this collaborative approach from civil society. So I think what I'm hoping to see is that we can stroke the conscience of government to be more engaging with civil society and business to fight corruption.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Wayne Duvenage, CEO of the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse.